What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. You've pressed record and everything, didn't you?
I think I did.
And the sound as well.
I mean, maybe.
Because we've done this before.
We're like jumpy prison, the B word that we can't say at the beginning of videos.
Yeah, we need 2 minutes. Yeah. 2 minutes of nice, clean content. That's right.
We're, like, you drop the soap, you're like, I'm forever thinking about the soap.
I'm just going to be dirty. No, I'm good. I've actually had the chance to do a little bit of gaming. So weirdly, a benefit of my gaming world is that I also do tabletop gaming.
Okay.
Play Dungeons and Dragons, right? And the last few weeks, my group hasn't been able to meet, play online because they're mostly in America and they're all spread out across there as well.
Wait, you D&D guys have lives?
I just said we haven't been able to meet. I never said we have social
My
lives.
apologies, completely misunderstood.
Reel it back in.
Yeah, sorry about that. My bad.
But one of my guys was like, Baldur's Gate 3 has like multiplayer. And I was like, so what you're saying is when we can't play D&D, we're going to play D&D. And he was like, yeah, buddy.
There we go.
Anyway, so I've actually had a chance to play a bit more consistently of Baldur's Gate 3, which is so good. Obviously, it's coming up.
I'm jealous of that.
Almost certainly as a topic today.
Oh, yeah.
But
the Baldur's Gate sweep of the Game Awards.
literal sweep.
Literal
sweep. And also well-deserved.
Yeah.
But it's been really good fun to get to play. I'm not very far in. I'm still in Act 1. But I'm glad that I have some scheduled time to play. Because there's so much other crap going on in my life where I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I've set aside 2 or 3 hours, which I was setting aside anyway. Going to do it for this, get some playtime in, and just enjoy gaming, which is something that I like to do.
I'm really jealous of that. Jealous of Baldur's Gate specifically because I haven't been able to get back to that. But yeah, I'll talk about what I've been playing later. Oh, you're going into it right now. Yeah. Well, I've been doing some gaming as well. I've kind of messed up my sleep schedule because of the Game Awards.
I don't sleep very well.
Literally one
Instead
day,
of 8 hours of high quality restful sleep, I now only have like 5.
I stayed up for the Game Awards, which started. The pre-show, which they didn't tell us, by the way, started at quarter past 12 at midnight.
Yeah.
And then there was like an hour of that nonsense, right? And they didn't tell us. It was all just nonsense.
I would have given up.
I was really pissed off by it, not gonna lie. And I was streaming it with the lads, and we were all watching it. We were all getting annoyed. And just when we got annoyed, they started the show, and it went on till like 4:30 in the morning. And that one thing just completely ruined my sleep schedule. But in the time that I haven't been sleeping, I did finish off Jedi Survivor.
Okay. What did you think about it? Bearing in mind that it's like 2 years old almost at this point.
Yeah, I've been going through the platinum as well during those times as well.
Right.
I haven't finished it yet. I actually really liked it.
Okay,
it was
good.
very, very good. However, so many questions were brought up. So many things were introduced. And when I actually finished it, Ben was here. I was just chilling with him. And we was playing, and I was like, cool. There's still so much they haven't like answered. Like this thing has answered, that thing has answered. So there's probably still a lot of this game, and he's staying dead quiet. And then it finishes, and I was like, wait, what? Hold on a second. But we still don't know about this. We still don't know about that. What?
I'm really happy to hear that the ending had you actually caring about something, even if it's like the unanswered questions. That's what gaming should be.
Exactly. I wasn't unhappy.
No, yeah.
I was like,
I still have so many questions. Not yet.
Cliffhanger. I need more.
Yeah. So let's see. We had Fallen Order, Survivor. What's the next one going to be? Just Life After Jedi. Life After Order 66.
The Return of the Jedi.
That's great branding. You
That's
should trademark that.
Just saying. Or maybe, seeing as he's the last one, the last Jedi.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loves that.
Or I mean, if he's stronger now, maybe he's like a new hope for a rebellion.
Oh yeah. I like the idea. I like that. But then, what if actually, like he takes?
Well, let's not do this. We're not a Star Wars podcast. Let's give it.
What if he takes down the Empire and then they strike back? Anyway, played Jedi Survivor, finished that, doing the platinum run right now. Apparently, when I finished it, there was like 25 trophies left, and I was like, for fuck's sake, that's a lot.
No, that is quite a few.
Usually you get there, it's like, there's only 10 left, no problem.
Do you know what? Just very quickly on PlayStation stuff. before the PS5 came out, they were telling us about those cards where it would be like, here's an achievement you haven't got yet. Click here and load in. That's not been a thing.
No, it's very, very few. Like, they did it for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's all
I remember playing that as well. Yeah,
Yes,
same.
I don't remember any other game doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at least the first party ones should do it. Come on now. Come on.
I mean, I'll be honest though, I'm glad to hear that Jedi Survivor all this time later is good, because I have played, a couple of hours of it. I'm still on that first like planet that you get to after the heist. So I'm glad to hear that it's good. It's on my list, but I have a long list and no time, and like less time than usual. So I'm glad to hear that it's good. I'm very glad to hear that it's good.
It is good. But bro.
Yes.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Coming to your eyes and ears every Sunday?
Every now and then.
Every now and then. YouTube.com/Conbrosations1. And before we get going, we need to thank some great people who support us over at Patreon.com/Conbrosations, just like you guys can, who support us at the Super Bro tier, the legends themselves. Those people are My Juicy Left Nut, Sabine from Smallville, and Gams Master, the leader of the Empire, the Philos one, the great Lord Vader himself, step cousin, who actually came up with all those names for the next Jedi Survivor game. And we don't really like it, to be honest. We just carried on because he feels wanted and whatnot. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your support. We really appreciate it.
We do. Also, talking of your support, like on the video,
yes,
comment in the comment section.
Please.
If you engage with the content, like, I'm not trying to farm you for likes, but it is useful for us. It helps us grow. We are still trying to grow. That is a thing that we do.
We always try and grow.
We do.
In our pants.
Jesus Christ. How long have we been recording? No, it's okay. We're safe.
It's okay. We're cool
safe.
Now. We're cool.
We're safe. This has been a crazy week for gaming. I know you have topics.
Yeah.
And if you're new to the show, the way we've always done things is you have things you want to talk about, and I'm getting it fresh as well.
Yeah.
So they probably don't know, but they might know more than me because they'll have seen the title.
True.
But I don't know what's coming, so we're having a fresh conversation. I want to quickly raise something with you. Have you been keeping track of like the updates that have been happening? Or not just God of War, but this week have been massive updates.
In God of War?
In everything.
In
gaming.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
Cool.
Like, it would have been big enough just talking about the Game Awards stuff that came out. But then there was a whole bunch of extra stuff on top of that.
It would have been big enough just to talk about already established games updates.
Yeah. For
us to do the whole podcast just on that.
Yeah.
Fortnite, Cyberpunk, God of War, like those alone, massive.
Exactly.
Massive.
And it's going to be a big show. It's going to be a big show.
Great time to be a gamer.
It really is. Honestly, this year has been fantastic.
It's been great.
For updates, for new releases, for everything.
Not so much for our personal time.
Nah, I mean...
Forget that
nonsense. You know? I mean, I had a kid. I chose to give up my personal time. So, the Game Awards happened the other night. It was an okay show. Personally, I would give it like a C+. There were some good things, but there were also some bad things that I was like, why are you doing it this way? That made it like a C+ in my opinion. Okay. I came out with it going, okay, I watched the show. I really wish this wasn't at 4 a.m. in the morning, but there you go.
Yes.
Game of the Year obviously went to the legendary Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Not many people were surprised by that. We all kind of knew that was going to happen. It's a very, very good game.
It deserves it. Like, Game of the Year isn't just the most fun game or the game you enjoyed the most. It's like what pushes gaming as a genre forward, right? What values its community the most. Like, Baldur's Gate had an open beta, I think it was, for like a year and a half where they were doing tons of testing and stuff. The amount of like player choice that happens in the game that you're allowed to have, the price of the game, the quality of it, the fact that it's finished on release, no pay deals. Like, that is the pinnacle of gaming. That is the way gaming should be. That is the new Witcher 3. That is the new bar. That's what all games should be compared against. And the fact that it was like ultimately it is a like an RTS turn-based game, right? Those aren't Game of the Year games, right? That's like Forza winning Game of the Year for its incredible story, right? Turn-based stuff is not like, we're in a time where people want fast pace, movement, all of that, and Baldur's Gate shouldn't have won it, but they did everything right.
Yeah.
And so it deserved it. It also deserves all of those awards individually. Like, in every category, I don't think anyone was like, wait, hold on a minute.
No. There is one category.
Oh yeah,
that people were like that, and I'll mention that. And
cool.
Shall I mention that?
Yeah,
I'll
let's
mention
do it.
it now. It was let me just pull it up. Best. It was action adventure. Let me just see if I can find this. Pull up a bunch of bad.
I don't know. I would
now.
even call it an action adventure, even though it has action and adventure. I wouldn't call it that.
What's the best? Where's the damn thing? Best action. Here we go. Best action adventure. I'm getting a bunch of bad gateway errors on here now. Anyway, Baldur's Gate won it, and I was like, I don't know if that's an action adventure.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't call it that.
Yeah, so that was an odd one. And
what did it beat out?
It beat out Alan. Well, no, sorry, my apologies. No. It didn't win it. I would have told you if it fucking could load. Alan Wake won it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's more like a
horror survival type thing.
It's not.
Which again, I think Alan Wake, from everything I've heard, is probably a fantastic game.
It won a ton of awards.
Had Baldur's Gate not been here, it could have reasonably won.
Yeah. It won a ton of awards, so that was like the close second.
Yeah, I don't know that it's an action adventure.
And Spider-Man was in there, and I was like,
yeah, I'd probably have given that one to Spider-Man over Alan Wake, which is not to say that Alan. Shut up, Alpha! Don't. I can already hear him typing. I'm not saying Alan Wake isn't, deserving of a title, but if the title's action adventure, that should probably go to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And like horror or survival or atmosphere or something like that. Sure, that should go to Alan Wake. That's a weird one.
It was very strange.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this.
Yeah, this is the thing. So the awards part of it actually was, in my opinion, the worst part of the show.
Oh, really?
Which is hilarious to think about because it's an award show.
Yeah.
A couple of things that was annoying about it was the awards. Some of them seemed a little bit off, but some of them were. There was a lot of competition, so I'm not going to contest any of that. The actual award winners would only get 30 seconds to speak on stage and then would be like rushed off of the stage.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is stupid because this whole show is to celebrate video games and the people who make the video games. And there are skits that they did with like Muppets, and they got Simon Lee, the guy that played in the that actor, come on there to talk about his broken leg for longer times than the award winners got to talk about accepting their awards.
Well, in fairness, it's not like they had an extra spare, let's say, hour and a bit at the front of the show, to buffer the time for these guys to speak, so we could hear from the teams involved in making what, as we know, is the pinnacle of entertainment. The best way to spend your time in entertainment, because you get to do the thing as opposed to just passively watching it or reading it or hearing about it.
Why would anyone care about the people that make those things?
Yeah, crazy.
It was so dumb, and I know I understand. Like last year, Christopher Judge went overboard and he spoke for 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
When he was accepting his Performance of the Year award and whatnot. And
Chris, we need to wrap it up.
Yeah, they made a joke about it at the beginning. They were like, they got him on there, and then immediately when he started talking, they started playing music to sort of like hurry him along. It was like, good fun. It was good fun like that. But 30 seconds, way too short.
That's not enough.
Especially when, again, like you're making skits that, for like the Muppets, there was a Muppet skit.
Is there a Muppets game coming?
No, just a Muppet skit. Easily dumb. And then there was like mobile game ads and stuff like that. Really dumb shit that took up more time than the award-winning people who make these fantastic experiences, to which the whole show is honoring. It makes no sense to me. Anyway, that was the downside of it, right? As I said, I don't have any problems with any of the awards. It was a little... Spider-Man didn't win a single award.
Not one.
Not one, despite it being nominated for 7. I'm not too salty about it. There was a lot of competition. A lot of people are trying to make it...
look at Sony.
Exactly. And then those are the same people that say Xbox tax, and it's like, so PlayStation, is there a PlayStation tax then? You idiots.
Like when Spider-Man goes up against competition and loses, that's egg on the face. But when it happens to Xbox, or Sony, it's the Microsoft tax.
Some conspiracy theory that's going on here. You know?
I mean, again, I don't think it's unreasonable for Spider-Man to have been beaten out by any of these games, especially, for example, for Game of the Year, because... And we always said this, Game of the Year isn't about the most fun game. We knew, and this is why we said Spider-Man 2 is going to be good, we knew what we were getting. We didn't know what the story was, but we know what a Spider-Man game from Insomniac looks like. We know it's going to be good. So in that sense, it's not pushing any boundaries in that sense. So something that is new and innovative and does something different and pushes out the boat, that should win it. Baldur's Gate should easily have won it, even if Spider-Man's a more fun, game, or it's more engaging, or gives you more dopamine, or whatever you want to say. Like, Baldur's Gate should win that.
Yeah.
100%. But maybe Alan Wake shouldn't have won Best Action Adventure.
Yeah, that was an odd one. Even Alpha, I think, was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, because it's not an action adventure. That's not what it...
A lot of people are very sus about that one.
That's a bit strange. I did see, by the way, just to get back onto like conspiracy theories and sus, Hogwarts Legacy not mentioned. And I found one other quite sad thing, actually. So there's a category called Games for Impact. Okay. This is very political, and it was very obvious what was going on. There was a game that came out that got excluded, and I heard from the developer who was quite upset about this. He made a game called The Light and the Darkness. It's a game about the Holocaust and the people who survived the Holocaust. Intense.
Yeah, it's an intense game, so not for everybody and whatnot. Yeah. But apparently it's very faithfully done. Like, the reviews came out and people were like, they were liking it and stuff like that.
The gas looks right. Chambers are packed.
I'm trying to be really serious.
I was going to say, like, this is not what the sort of thing I would usually make a game about. But yeah, go on.
It was the terrible stories involved in it, but then also like triumph for humanity and stuff like that.
We call them games, but games aren't specifically there for you to have fun with.
Exactly.
They're there as a form of media and entertainment. So yeah, I'm with you.
So it was a game about the Holocaust, about Jewish people and stuff like that. But
Hilarious.
Because of the current situation with Israel and everything, it was completely neglected from the thing. As if the Holocaust is somehow invalidated because of the conflict going on right now. Like, the genocide didn't matter then, you know?
Right, yeah.
Just totally the hypocrisy of the gaming industry, you know? It just annoyed me.
It's... And I think we've always sort of said this about the gaming industry, is we've always worried about recency bias.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a war going on, so maybe less of that. But like, actually no, when Russia-Ukraine was kicking off, a bunch of Russian gamers were excluded from events.
100%.
That's now I've had some time to really think about it, because I understand that, like, for example, athletics, like the Olympics, that is like a political thing. Countries compete in a sense. But like, in general, excluding people from a thing because of where they were born and because of how that country operates, you wouldn't do that for any other thing.
It's not racist at all, is it? It's like completely where they're from. That's just who they are. They didn't choose to be born there. It's like they're just born there. That's where
exactly.
you are.
You're born somewhere. You have no control over where you're born. Obviously,
it's the obvious. It's the thing. Is like, you're not being judged on your merits. You're being judged on everything that's out of your control. It's really bad.
I don't like to see that, and I don't want that in my game industry. I want my game industry to be a complete... The point of it is it's an escape from reality. It's a way to enjoy other forms of media and be involved in something else, right? And to play a hero. Exactly. And to
not
do
exclude people.
Right, exactly. So I ideally don't want to see that in gaming. And it's like, I don't think it has a place. The point of video games is that everyone can be there. In fact, one of the big things is like the push for what do they call it? Accessibility.
Yeah.
Right, like that is a pervasive, like that is a theme that all game studios and industry and developers think about. Like, okay, cool, do we have controller support? Do we have custom remapping? What are we going to do if someone can or can't use this thing, right? For two reasons. One, because they want everybody to be able to play the game, but two, if you come up with these sort of creative fixes, it often just makes the game better. Like, a lot of people have learned a ton of stuff about color blindness because games have put in colorblind filters and stuff. Like changes, like, you learn a lot about this stuff.
I think Forza might have won the accessibility game of the year this year.
Okay, cool.
Do you want to know why?
Okay, I heard a joke on TikTok. This guy said you can play the game if you're blind.
100%. My mind was blown when I heard that. I was like, other games maybe I understand, but how do you perceive a corner before it happens being blind? And they've somehow worked it out, and obviously it's being praised and what.
That's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. I was like, wow, we really have come a long way as gamers, haven't we? That's absolutely insane, and the world is open to people now, to more people now. I was
Forza Motorsport, blind driving assists.
Crazy, right?
That finally, Xbox, well done. That is genuinely impressive. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
That's really awesome. And we've always said as well, Forza is like a hardware demonstration. Like, it's what can you really wring out of this engine and make it like amazing. That's seriously cool. That's really cool. I'm gonna do a bit of digging onto that.
You should.
That is cool.
Let me run through a couple of more of these categories. So best game direction, Alan Wake 2 won that one. Best narrative, Alan Wake 2 won that one.
Okay.
Best art direction, Alan Wake 2 won that one. Best score, Final Fantasy 16 won that one.
Cool.
Which is fair, to be honest.
Final Fantasies have always had like just such incredible. Not that that's a tough thing to say in this industry because the OSTs are so good. Like the soundtracks are so good.
It's become really good in gaming now, isn't it?
But Final Fantasy has always been really impressive.
Best performance, we went to Newell Newborn from Baldur's Gate 3.
Who is he?
He's the vampire guy with the curly hair.
Oh yeah, Asterion. Yeah. At least he's not the bear.
Yeah. This one was a tough one because it could have easily gone to Yuri playing Spider-Man, could have easily gone to Cameron playing Cal Kestis, could have easily gone to Ben Starr for Final Fantasy 16, Idris Elba. It could have gone to anyone, and it was really amazing, that one. Let me go to another category now.
That's another thing. Like I think it's really important to say that just because somebody or something wins doesn't take anything else away from other games. The only time we're going to make a caveat for that is if they aren't included for nothing to do with the game reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Just include stuff.
There was a best ongoing category, ongoing game. Out of these people, you tell me which one you think could be Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy 16, Fortnite, Genshin Impact.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk won it, which is, I'm not going to lie, the description they give here meets the criteria.
Okay.
However, it's not when you think ongoing game. You think maybe like a live service type thing. But it says award to a game.
I wouldn't have included that in that list. It
says award to a game for outstanding development and ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time, which they have come a long way. So it fits the description.
Yeah.
However, I feel
next year Redfall. Like I'll say weirdly for all of that I would have given it to Fortnite.
Yeah. I think they're the ones that have done so much, right?
Fortnite, so we're talking about like big updates, and yes, Fortnite and Cyberpunk had massive updates, which I presume is one of the topics.
Yeah.
But like Fortnite's update was so massive. Like they always do these events where like, they change the map and they give you like a cinematic and stuff.
Yeah.
But they added like 3 new modes. So there's not just like Fortnite builds and no builds now. They have like a Minecraft version that's in Lego.
Yes, I saw that. They advertised that at the show.
And apparently it's good. Like,
it looks
really good.
It looks good. It basically is what Lego have been wanting to do this whole time. They were like, we just want to put Lego in Minecraft, basically, but we don't want to pay Minecraft. So here's a Fortnite thing.
It's I think Epic's doing it right, and that's some of those games. I play Apex. That's my game, but Apex doesn't do anywhere near that sort of thing. They do balancing, they bring out the odd new legend here and there, and maybe like every 6 months we get a new map or something. But the game doesn't really change. Like with Fortnite, they change the weapons, they add new weapons, they take out old weapons, they add
constantly adding new themes and stuff.
There's constantly new themes. There's new like ways to get around.
Things are huge. They're so involved.
They're massive, and I don't know how they do this, but they constantly have events going, like partnerships going. So there was a Family Guy one recently. Peter Griffin's in it.
I saw Mario talking all about that.
Right. Like they had Attack on Titan. They have anime ones. There was a Dragon Ball Z thing. Yeah. Like there's just so much going on. They do like Christmas events. So like near Christmas, they used to do some World of Warcraft as well. Like the whole map gets covered in snow, and you hear like bells going, and then instead of whatever's in the map, it'd be like a reindeer or a sleigh or something like that. Like
the brand power, man. They've just got that brand power that they can just attract any sort of company
Epic knows
to work with them.
What to do.
Okay, so that's all the awards, the big awards that made that we're going to talk about. There's many more. If you want to go check them out, you can go to the Game Awards website and check those out. So as I said, the show was not too bad overall. There was a lot of announcements. I'll tell you one thing that was kind of funny that happened that actually pissed off a lot of Call of Duty developers. Christopher Judge came on stage and he was talking about obviously making the jokes that he spoke for a long time, etc. like that. Do you know the joke about? Do you know what happened to Call of Duty this year? The campaign.
It's like 3 hours long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super short. Basically a DLC. Scammed a lot of people. Right. Everyone was very upset.
Yeah.
But they kind of got away with it because the people who play Call of Duty really only care about the multiplayer, so it's not really a big deal.
It is a tough one.
It just goes under the radar.
And there hasn't been a good campaign since like Black Ops 1.
Yeah.
Black Ops 1 was the last really good campaign. Yeah. And like that, I'm not saying the others are bad. I'm just saying that was the last really good one.
Yeah. It's because to be fair, they know that that's not what people are really coming for.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't put as much in, but it doesn't mean that you can put out a subpar product and be okay, and it can be all right.
Yeah.
So that's really what was going on here. Anyway, Christopher Judge made a joke on the stage. He was like, I'm not going to make a long speech about like last year. However, my last year's speech was longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign. And
zing!
Everyone was, oh shit! Everyone in the crowd, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. And we all collectively laughed. The internet was like, that was such a good burn. That was great. A bunch of Call of Duty developers, however, went on Twitter,
cry more.
Were so upset. And I was like, look, if you made a better product, something you could be proud of, then maybe you could have something to say.
Yeah.
I understand you still put effort into it, but you put such a small amount of effort for such a small amount of time, and then your publisher charged $70 for it.
Yeah.
You need to take a little bit of like, all right, look, maybe it wasn't your choice. No problem. Maybe it wasn't your choice. Cool, we get it. But he's not telling you that you did something wrong. It's the product that was given to us.
Yeah.
The product was given to us was subpar. We make a joke about the subpar product.
Yeah. Also, this isn't like so Last of Us 2, very divisive. But you can't say that like it wasn't long enough. You can't say that it didn't do stuff. You can say I didn't like it.
Yes.
But you can't say that it's not good,
Yeah.
right? Or it's not high quality, it doesn't maintain, whatever. You can't be like, oh, well, Last of Us 2, it's not very good. It really fell off, didn't it? It didn't fall off. You just didn't like it. You didn't enjoy it. But,
Exactly.
Right. So that would be unfair. But accurately describing the length of the COD campaign, which at this point we've now gone longer than it.
We've gone longer than the campaign.
Yeah, no, get stuffed.
Yeah.
Also, I wasn't expecting that from Christopher Judge, so that's quite funny.
It was quite funny. It was very unexpected. And when he goes afterwards, he's like, well, that's another company I'm not going to be able to work with anymore. So, yeah, that's funny.
That's even funnier.
I like it. It was fun. It was fun. And only Kratos could do that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone else who could come on stage and say that because, yeah, he's towards the end of his career, I would say. And he's already played in one of the biggest games ever, one of the most iconic characters ever now. So he's looking down at everyone now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all of the awards. Let's get on to some of the announcements that were shown and everything. Because I have a feeling that Jeff Keighley just wants to make E3. And the awards part is just inconsequential to him now. He just doesn't really give a shit. Because a lot more time was dedicated to this. The first trailer that came out, by the way, I'm only going to mention ones that I felt like were really cool. I'm not going to go through every single one. You guys can go to the SuperTube 80 Plays channel and you can check out my entire watch party of that if you want to check that out. It was really fun there. The first game, and I'll send you a link to this one.
Okay.
I'll send it to you as a text message. Exodus. This game was revealed by none other than Matthew McConaughey on stage.
All right.
He came on and he said that as well. And it is a game. Oh, it looks really, really good, I have to say. So I'm on their website right now. They've got exodusgame.com, and they describe it as 40,000 years ago, humanity was forced to abandon a dying Earth. Taking to the stars in massive arc ships, we found a habitable galaxy in Centauri. Here, we are the underdogs, struggling for survival in a cold and hostile galaxy, teetering on the edge of extinction. Our only hope for salvation lies with the travelers, which you play as travelers.
We're pikey.
Basically. Brave heroes and explorers descended from the early colonists of the first ships that left Earth long ago.
Sick.
It looks amazing.
Can you send me that link?
I think I sent it as a text message, didn't
I ain't got it, but it's cool.
It says it's delivered. Anyway,
that's not good.
It's very, very cool looking.
Yeah.
A lot of it was a cinematic trailer. Towards the end of the trailer, if you ever get it, it says...
what was it called?
Exodus. 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 It's weird. It says delivered as well. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, it hasn't come through. It's cool. What's crazy is that is just like the opposite of Forbidden West.
Yeah.
I'm watching this trailer now.
Watch the skim through some of the cinematic stuff because obviously it's not very representative, but you can tell it's high sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's aliens. There's
Love me some sci-fi.
Yeah, it's great. Well, it's also got I think one of the lead developers is an ex-BioWare dev.
Okay.
So might be right up your alley. It looks fantastic. And towards the end, there's snippets of gameplay, pre-alpha gameplay. It's a third person, high sci-fi. You've got robots, you've got aliens. And the voice actor in it sounds very, very cool. I'm all about this. It's got a bit in it as well about time slippage. Mm-hmm. So that's why I guess Matthew McConaughey's involved in it, because he's Interstellar. Yeah. I watched Interstellar the other day and this was perfect timing for me.
These the enemies are humans from the future, guaranteed, calling it now.
Yeah, it looks very much like they've augmented themselves, right? Yeah. So in the beginning of the trailer, it starts off with this guy and this girl. Yeah,
I'm digging some of those the animation. This one guy just did a flip with Grievous swords. That was cool.
In the beginning part of the cinematic trailer, there's this one bit where this guy and this girl, they're in their spacesuits and they have to separate each other, and I think the guy is going to try and distract the aliens from the girl so she can go with this orb she has in her hand. Okay. He goes through this time gate, which is like light speed travel to another place and whatnot. And he says as well, when we go into the time gates, time slows down for us. Days for us is like decades for the people out there.
Okay.
And when he comes out, it's a completely different time. And he sees a message from the girl that he left behind, and she's like, "Oh, I loved you," and it was a very emotional moment. I was like, "Ooh, this might have a really decent story to it as well."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, this looks really cool."
Why did you wait 1,000 years to tell me?
Right? He's a bit upset. He's like, "I just left you 1,000 years ago." And now
I was like, I loved you. Why didn't you pick up any of my hints?
When I said go away, I don't care about you. Leave me alone, you fucking cocksucker. I clearly meant I love you. Anyway, fantastic game.
It looks really cool.
There's no release date for this just yet, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested. The time stuff, the high sci-fi stuff looks very, very cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. And there is a website as well, as I said, exodusgame.com, and there's tons of information. They've got a timeline of events within the lore and whatnot.
Yeah,
so 2000 AD, 18,000 AD. It's all very, very cool stuff right here. Okay, the next game. Oh, the next thing to mention, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, free DLC, dropping December 12th. So that's 2 days' time for us.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
That is pretty close. Completely out of the blue.
Yeah, Ghost Drop, basically.
We was wondering if there was going to be a God of War DLC, and they showed it at the Game Awards. It is essentially a roguelike expansion to the main game. It's set after the events of God of War Ragnarok, and you play as Kratos with Mimir only, no other side companion character. And yeah, you go through these different areas. If you've never played a roguelike before, essentially what it is, it's almost like puzzle rooms that are connected to each other, and each rooms have enemies in them, and you keep on going through the game with one life. If you die, you get sent right back to the beginning, and then obviously all those rooms change and you have to go through it all again. Now, there is an eventual end goal. It's not endless and whatnot, but we don't know what that end goal is now. They won't tell us, obviously, for spoiler reasons. But that's what we're doing here. They haven't mentioned what kind of enemies we'll be fighting outside of the normal enemies. Will we see any of the Aesir gods? Because this is Valhalla. Do Aesir gods go to Valhalla? Are they exempt from it? What happens there? Are we going to get to see maybe Heimdall again? That would be quite fun.
That would be cool.
All these questions. It does say in the PlayStation blog post that you're going to be facing echoes from the past. And in the trailer, there was a Cyclops, which is an enemy from the Greek times.
Yeah.
Which was huge when that happened.
Also from 2018, we saw Zeus down there in Helheim.
Yeah.
So that, I've had that question since 2018.
Me and the Midgard Chronicle, he's another God of War YouTuber. He was like, I think we need to temper our expectations in terms of Zeus, because this is a free DLC, and Zeus would mean like a voice actor.
No, I fully agree with that. But it could be the why are they there?
Yeah.
Right, like, is this stuff down there? And then it could lead to... Because that would be a really good way to set up the next 2 games. Where you go, okay, we know there's a Loki story happening. And there's this other stuff that happens. Like, in Helheim, all those people, gods that Kratos killed, this happens. That leaves all these questions and all this stuff to be explored for Kratos to go and, like, solve this thing that could affect Loki. Do you know what I mean?
The thing that makes me think that maybe that could happen is that this mode clearly wasn't just drum up in the last like 10 months.
No, yeah.
This was because there was a point where Eric Williams said don't expect any DLC. Yeah. Filthy liar.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that just came up out of nowhere. Clearly, this was something that was in development before the game came out, and then they maybe just didn't have it ready in time to bring out. So maybe there was a plan for having like big voice actors do Zeus or something like that, or like big things that would tie into the next game or something like that. I do, however, think because it's a DLC, maybe it's not going to have much consequences because a lot of people don't play DLCs.
I feel you.
So maybe they'll just leave that for the next game or whatever it might be.
But, like, for example, if 2018 had DLC of Kratos leaving...
Yeah.
And coming to Midgard, that wouldn't have affected us playing Ragnarok.
Good
It would have been extra.
Good point.
Do you know what I mean? So, yes and no. Again, I don't want to get our hopes up for it because it is a free DLC. Also, I'm probably going to hate it. Like, I hate roguelike stuff. I just don't like...
Yeah, it's not your genre.
I don't like it. Which doesn't make it not good.
Well, let me tell you something. I put out a tweet, and a lot of people seem to agree with me, and it also references my video that I made back in the day that was like, this isn't the end of God of War Ragnarok. Yeah. All of the points that I made there still stand.
Yeah.
So I am in the firm belief that this is not the end of the expansion or whatever we're doing in Ragnarok. I feel like this was simply just a mode that was greenlit and it's very good, and it just didn't make the end of the release, and they carried on working on it. They gave it a little bit of time, and they boosted, give people a free thing at the end because it's already paid for. Let's just pop that out there. A great thing that we can all enjoy. And I think the side game, the Atreus side game or Fae prequel, whatever we're going to be doing, that's still happening. Maybe it's going to... I think that means now that we're not going to see it for like a year, maybe a year and a half.
It'll be a while, probably,
Because otherwise they would have just bundled this DLC in with it to raise the value of it.
But do you know what vibe I get?
Go on.
In both the last 2 games, the Crucible has been like... I feel like they really like it, but there wasn't enough to do with it. Like, they just couldn't make it really relevant. And they tried again with the whole getting to... what's that guy's name?
Tyr?
No. You have to fight your way up to Firebreath.
Oh, Surtur.
Yeah, Surtur. So, I think they went... We really like the Crucible mode. Like, the idea of it. But we can't get it to be really a part of the game. It's something you do for extra if you're bored or only have 10 minutes and this is the game you're going to play. How do we make it the game? Okay, let's do it like this. That's the vibe I get. And that, for the record, is a compliment, not a cuss. I'm not saying like, oh, they're just doing stuff. I'm saying I felt that in both games, that whole fire dimension Crucible thing,
the Muspelheim trials.
Yeah, like the trials and the fact that there was a Valkyrie up there. Spoiler alert. It shows that they were really passionate about that specific thing, and it's something that a big part of the team really enjoy about gaming and about God of War, and they put it in there but couldn't figure out a way to make it relevant to a story game. So what do? We do a one-off, this is the thing. It's difficult because it is basically a trial for Kratos. Cool. Now we can like set the whole team to making this trial make sense versus like, how do we insert this into the game as a whole? So I'm from that sense, I'm really keen to see what they do. It's probably not for me, but I'm really keen to see what they do.
Do you think there'll be anything? I keep thinking if there'll be anything story related in it. Like it seems like they're teased to it because in the trailer he says like, "Why are we here again, brother?" And it's like I have to face this, and I'm like, You make it sound like it's something quite important.
I don't think anything about this game. The focus of this game isn't combat, right? And none of the last 2 God of War games, the focus is not combat. Where the first 3 God of Wars, it was just a hack and slash.
Yeah.
So while the combat is good and like it's enjoyable, it's a method to get you to the next step of the story. This DLC is obviously going to be different, but I don't think they're going to have thrown away any story just because they're doing this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think at worst, it will be throwbacks, connections from new Kratos to old Kratos. That would be the worst, the least that we get. You know, it'll be an expansion. You know, he talks in the boat. There's a section where I think Atreus asks him, how come you can't use any of these other powers?
Yeah.
And he talks about like, well, maybe when I killed all the gods, like their magic is dead, so I can't do it.
Tied to the lands that I was from. Yeah,
Right. So I think at, again, worst, it will be more of those connections and like the consequences of his actions effectively coming back and him having to either keep him or Atreus or both of them or Freya or whoever safe from the things he's already done, because now with no Odin, maybe that realm's like falling apart or whatever.
Yeah.
At best, it will be that, as well as teeing up, if ever so slightly, what Loki's journey is, what his involvement in that next game will be. Personally, I'm hoping for at a minimum Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales type, where he's still present, like he's very much a present figure.
Yeah.
But you're playing as Loki.
That's how I'm hoping for it to go. Yeah.
And ideally more, because while I love Atreus, I'm in it for Kratos.
Yeah, that's what we're all in it for. Like there are people that say it in a very brash way, where they're like, "Fuck Atreus, I want to play as Kratos." They say it in that way, but really we're playing for God of War, the God of War.
I'll tell you, I don't know about you, but whenever I was playing as Atreus, I was just trying to get through it, except for when I was with Thor, because Thor is a Kratos analog, and he's quite interesting, and I was just curious to see what was going on there.
I was hooked in the Atreus bits purely because of the story implications and what it has, because he's a giant when he goes to Ironwood, and you get all of the information about the other giants and how they see the future, and then hearing what Angrboda says and what she doesn't say, because clearly she knows more about the future than he does, and how she words stuff. Anyway, that was the most interesting part of it, but not the playing as Atreus.
Yeah, I didn't particularly love. Let's say, love's not right, and enjoy is not strong enough playing as Atreus. Also because it's just different versions of doing what you do as Kratos, but I don't believe it because we don't really see him do like the magic blocking and stuff like that. So it feels a bit strange. I did enjoy that, when you're opening chests, like Kratos just punches through them and he can't do that. That was cool. That was a nice little addition.
Yeah.
But I think it would have benefited a lot making him a very different playstyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we would have benefited a lot.
Maybe they'll refine it in the Atreus game.
Just gonna have a very quick sip of water here, boys. You audio virgins are missing out.
You're missing out on his lips perched. His pursed lips.
And the little finger, don't forget the little finger. Which is difficult because I can't feel my little fingers.
The next game that I saw that piqued my interest was Senua's Sacrifice Hellblade 2. However, it looks fantastic, and I really want this game to come out so I can play it. However, it was just more of the same stuff we've seen in other trailers. And this game needs to come out already. That's my conclusion to this whole thing.
Yes.
Nothing bad. They didn't show very much gameplay, but there's nothing bad I've seen about this trailer. I just need it to come out so we can play the game, so we can experience it already.
Fully agreed.
Far too much has been going on. The voice actor was there as well, and obviously her face is modelled on the same character as well. She looks like her. It's quite cool to see that in video games sometimes. But yeah, Senua's Sacrifice looked great. Hope it comes out soon.
That's one of those games they're almost doing another version of Cyberpunk, which is rather than just delaying it, they haven't given a date and they keep teasing it. And it's like, at some point, you've got to stop and like do it or not. You know, like we're at the Netflix. but I'm not going to watch all of Suits with you.
Yeah.
Are we going to chill? Do you know what I mean? Like, you got to do it. And I do think they're getting to that point where, even though they haven't delayed it, you're teasing it with no updates about it, and that is basically the same thing.
Get it out. Did you get my message now?
I've got the Exodus one.
You haven't got the other one?
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Let's do it. Let's switch over to... What should we switch over to? God. Discord?
Yeah, you can send it on
Yeah, send it over Discord. Okay, the next game that I'm going to talk about, very lightly, is called No Rest for the Wicked.
Okay.
It's an interesting looking game. I kind of like the art style. The narration was very, very cool. It's a game made by the people who made Ori and the Blind Forest.
Okay, cool.
And those guys are fantastic. Their art style is fantastic. Just something to keep an eye out for people out there. I think it was worth watching. Okay, and my Discord won't open, so...
Cool, I was going to say, I don't have it.
We're doing great today, boys.
It's cool.
Anyway, just keep it on your radar, everyone. It looked nice. Go and check out the trailer. I think it was worth it. All right, here's a cool one.
Okay.
Sega announced that they're back, and they announced 5 previously known IPs in development for brand new games.
Yeah.
One of them is Crazy Taxi.
Sick.
And it looked so cool, the little snippets we saw there.
Sick.
I was like, that's fucking great. Some other classics, Shinobi, Jet Set Radio, Streets of Rage. A lot of people will know those names.
I love Shinobi.
But I was like, right in that Crazy Taxi. I was like, oh my God, they're bringing Crazy Taxi back. Like, legitimately, and not like a spiritual successor, someone else making it, trying to do a fake copy. It was actually Crazy Taxi. And I thought it was quite fun.
Yeah, that's cool. That is
really
cool.
The next one, a game called The Casting of Frank Stone. It's a game coming out in 2024, set in the Dead by Daylight universe.
Okay.
So Dead by Daylight, I don't know if you know, is one of those like teen slasher movie type games.
Yeah.
This is exactly like that as well. It looked very, very cool. Made by the same people, Supermassive Games, who made Until Dawn, Dead by Daylight, all these people. So it's very much their kind of theme. And I thought it was fantastic.
That's cool.
I really liked it. Next game. Oh, they showed another trailer for Rise of the Ronin. This is a PlayStation exclusive game made by a second party team called Team Ninja. Very beautiful. It's got the samurai aesthetic, so you might enjoy it very much.
I'm already invested. Where do I pre-order?
Already, I'll send you the pre-order link. There you go. You'll get it tomorrow. It looked very, very cool. I'm not really sure what genre of game it is, though, because at times it looks like a Soulsborne game, and then sometimes it just looks like an open world game.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on what it is, so someone might need to correct me in the comment section. Let me know what that...
Correcting Conbrosations.
Bring it back, boys. Bring it back. Okay, big one now. Can you search on YouTube?
Yeah.
OD by Hideo Kojima.
Okay.
Now, very little is shown in this trailer, but I want you to look at it so you can see what's going on. The whole idea was that you get these people's faces in CG, very well crafted. They look very realistic. But in their eye reflections, you can see things going on in the background.
Okay.
In one of them, it looks like just like a studio with like lighting. But then when it gets later on in the trailer, you see like a door opening or something like that. Okay. And then she starts screaming. It is very Hideo Kojima. You barely get any information.
You don't need to say any more about it.
You barely get any information other than a couple of screams and a couple of feelings. But it's
Sophie Lillis. Yeah, so that's...
So if you look in like, she looks like a very good model, right? Like that's all CG right there.
Yeah.
But if you look into the eyes, there's like reflections of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to show. They didn't give us any information about the game, but this is the game that they're working with Xbox Game Studios on, the cloud-based thing. I don't know if it's 100% a game though.
Well, this.
Yeah, it might be an experience. It might be a game. We don't 100% know because they didn't say anything. They just... Hideo Kojima came out as like, hey, this is the game I'm working with Xbox Studios. Jordan Peele is also involved in it somehow. He came out on stage at the Game Awards.
I'll tell you, very Hideo, very good. Like, I'm not even listening to this, and this prior to the Scream, which just happened now. This has been deeply unsettling.
Exactly. That's it. The whole theme of it.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I was just like, I just don't feel comfortable right now.
Without sound, I'm very uncomfortable in like the best way possible. You know, like I don't like that at all. And that was before the Scream, and both of the two actors were doing it. Whatever they were doing it very well. Like that's cool.
So Hideo Kojima coming out with another game there, or experience, or whatever it's going to be. However, and there's another game that happens to as well. In fact, I'll mention it right after this. No, you know what? I'm going to keep it for when it comes up to it. But anyway, that was the Hideo Kojima game. They didn't show Death Stranding, which was interesting. This was the only thing Hideo Kojima came to talk about. Jurassic Park Survival. I only bring this up because it looks like they're making a game essentially based off of the first movie.
Okay.
They showed the bit with like the raptor chasing the girl into the kitchen and stuff that, and it looked fun. And if it turns out to be a cool game, that's pretty cool. It was very nostalgic seeing all that stuff. Basically,
Jurassic Park, not the new ones, although they're like enjoyable to watch. The OG, especially the original and 2, but the original still holds up. Still so good. Every bit as good now as when I was a kid. It's probably better now than when I was a kid because I get a lot more of the bits, you know?
Yeah.
I understand, like, these two are romantically involved, and like, he's
trying to fuck his girl.
Right. And then, they're talking about like, DNA from this and that. I'm like, that's right. No, I've been to school. I know what DNA is.
It's like that little paperclip guy that was in DNA form.
Helix,
It's like, you didn't explain anything to me back in the day. I didn't get anything. I was just too stupid. So it looked cool. The next thing showing off was Twisted Metal TV show. Season 2 is coming out. Have you watched season 1 at all? No. I've downloaded it, but I haven't watched it. Apparently it was good though. I don't know. Really, I wasn't that invested in Twisted Metal in the first place, so I don't know about that. Then here was a big one. This was actually big. A Blade game is in development.
I heard about that.
Yes, in development by Arcane Leon, the guys that made Deathloop.
Yeah.
So technically under the Bethesda umbrella, owned by Microsoft. It looked okay. It didn't look too great in my opinion. To be fair, there wasn't a lot shown. It was a teaser. That's all it was. And the head of Marvel Games came out, and Arcane Leon's head came out, and they were talking about it next to Jeff. They were like, yeah, this is a collaboration with Marvel Games. We love making this, blah, blah, blah. Not a single mention of Xbox in the entire thing. Not a logo, not mentioned by Marvel Games, not mentioned by Arcane Leon. That means one of two things. One, the Xbox brand is such a liability that part of the clause was we don't mention with Marvel Games.
Yeah, we're
going to give you this thing.
Xbox.
We're not going to be mentioning Xbox. It's not going to be a thing because that's something that drags down. Like that's how bad the brand is for Xbox, right? That it had. It's a detractor at the very least.
Yeah.
It's a detractor from the product that we're trying to sell.
For sure.
And people won't buy it if we say that we'll put Marvel out there and it has more chance of selling copies.
Yeah.
Or it's not exclusive and it's multi-platform. And that is also kind of likely as well because are Marvel going to be happy just selling to the 40 Xboxes there are out there? Or do they want to sell to as many people as possible? Like they can do it with PlayStation because they're fucking 85% of the population anyway.
A bit of me, and while I knee-jerk reaction is like, well, they're the small guy, and not like they're the small fish in the pond, mainly because the fish keeps ramming its head into the walls before it can grow. But so a bit of me is like, you know what? I feel like Xbox could really use some good exclusive titles, or at least timed exclusive, like 3 or 6 months on Xbox before it goes anywhere else. That would have been cool, and that I would think they'd be like, play it first on Xbox. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I will say as well though, Blade is a little bit of a worry because there is a Blade remake movie in the works, and that has had a bunch of controversy around it.
It's been in trouble so much. Like, it lost its director.
It's lost multiple directors.
Yeah, and apparently it's on track now, but
it lost multiple directors because they did, and this is all off the top of my head and from years ago, but like they tried to make Blade a girl, which, like, I wouldn't care about a female half vampire protagonist, but Blade is
Sounds
like.
hot.
I'm all about it with the afro. I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
She's really into sucking.
Oh my god, I'm all about it. But Blade's a dude.
Yeah, he's a known character.
Right, exactly. Blade's a known element, so just make a cool vampire girl story or make Blade.
Yeah.
And that's one of the major reasons, I believe, in all the decisions based around that were one of the major reasons that Blade was like had issues. Also, I think Whistler. I don't know if are you familiar with Blade?
I know of Whistler.
The basic gist: Blade is his mum is bitten. Yeah, while he's in the womb, his mum's bitten by a vampire. Okay. So he comes out half vampire, right? Like just as she's about to deliver, it's right at the end. So he gets sort of like a half dose, and that's why he's like a day walker. He can walk. Because he's half human. He's not full vampire, right? But his mum is a vampire, and I can't remember if she's killed or what happens. But she's not around. Whistler is this old grizzled dude whose family was killed by a vampire, like a hitchhiking dude, way back when. He turns out he's a vampire. He kills the dude, and then realizes vampires are a thing and starts hunting them. He finds Kid Blade homeless on the street. This is the general story, and like realizes what he has on his hands here, like a guy that potentially a vampire hunter that doesn't age and can walk in the sun. Right. So he raises Blade not as a son, but he is effectively a father figure to fight vampires. Right. And as Blade grows, at least in the movie, because I'm more familiar with the OG movies than the OG comics, Blade has things where like his hunger for human blood starts to grow as he grows, and so they try to come up with medications to suppress it, because he is ultimately still a predator of humans. Yeah. And he doesn't want to be, and would. I think one of the big issues that they have to medicate is if he starts eating people, he's going to kill himself. But he's the best weapon against vampires, so we need him to be around. Right. He won't tolerate killing and eating people for himself, so like Whistler's really engaged in making sure that doesn't happen, because he knows Blade cares about humans, not vampires. Yeah. Just really interesting dynamic. And without Whistler, we don't really have Blade. And so how do you remove Whistler? It doesn't really make any sense. Yeah. Also, he's a really good like canary, like he's a really good thing to take away from Blade. So like I think it's the first movie, they kill Whistler. By the big bad finds Whistler and kills him. Right. And that motivates Blade to take that villain seriously. He's a great... He's just a human dude. Yeah. But he's also Blade's, like, the guy in the chair.
Yeah. His watchtower from Smallville.
Right. And also, like, his mechanic. So, like, because Whistler was a mechanic. So they have cars that are outfitted. They have special equipment. Like, Blade famously has this sword that has a mechanism in it. So if it's not him, it will, like, cut your hand off. Nice. Comic book logic. Yeah. Right? But, like, without that sort of man in the tower, is that what you call it? Person in the chair.
Yeah. His Alfred.
Right. So, like, how do you do Blade without that?
Yeah, it sounds kind of integral.
It is pretty important. So, Blade had a bunch of issues, so I'll be curious to see what they do. Now, the Deathloop guys, I didn't play Deathloop, absolutely the wrong kind of game for me, but apparently pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Also, and I don't know if this is, like, one of the reasons they picked them, but both the Deathloop protagonists or antagonists, they were black.
They were.
Blade's black. Yeah. And I wonder if, because that's another interesting point of the story, is like, maybe it's a bit on the nose, but Blade's a daywalker. He's literally mixed race, right? Like he's mixed vampire, I didn't know he was human. No, I mean like he's.
Oh, I see, mixed between human and okay, cool.
He walks in both worlds.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Also, it's cool to have like one of the very few black superheroes that doesn't have electric powers.
Yeah.
He has no electric powers. It's great.
Maybe they can give him electric powers in this game and make it canon.
I think
they should.
I think they made 3 Blade movies, and I always watch to see if he does anything with like electricity, like if he'll like even grab a cable and electrocute someone. Because even though I'd be like, they couldn't help themselves. Anyway, I love those things.
Like they're writing information on like a board, like an idea board.
Yeah.
Blade, black, electric.
What if he eats an eel, an electric eel, and for a short period of time,
there you go,
he Palpatines people. Anyway, yeah, it would be cool to see what they do with it.
It was as I said, the art style is a little bit. It's not like realistic sort of art style. It's more like a cartoonish type thing.
It's from a comic book. That's okay.
It's fine. We'll have to see. It was just a teaser. It was not really enough to really grasp anything from it. It was just more interesting to me, which unfortunately is a bit sad. It was more interesting to me that it had no Xbox branding on it. And apparently people reached out to ask Arcane Leon, is it exclusive?
Yeah.
And they refused to confirm it. Which...
That may mean that they haven't decided.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like, I don't think Marvel would be against it, something being a Microsoft exclusive. I think... the deal's probably underway.
Who knows? I mean, I think this would have been something that you would have worked out quite early on.
I would have.
Yeah, and Marvel aren't exactly stupid. And also they've done other deals that are extremely successful before. Insomniac Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just weird. And then the Hideo Kojima one as well.
That's going to make it tough, actually, for Arcane or I guess Microsoft to be like, look, we want it as an exclusive. And they're going to say, well... look at all the stuff you've made on your own, and then look at Spider-Man.
Here's the thing: the only negotiating power they have is money, and if they're willing to pay for it, then they can get it.
Do they have as much money as the game would generate itself?
Well, that's the problem. It's all about what Marvel is looking to get from it. Are they looking to get a super successful game from it and maybe boost their brand? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But are they looking to make a check? Probably also, yeah, but maybe they want the brand to be a bit more successful and make some money at the same time. And unfortunately, you can't do that with the 5 Xboxes that are out there. So, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Okay, well, that's all the announcements, really, from the Game Awards. They did also announce they did do Best Adaptation. I forgot to mention this of a TV show, The Last of Us one, that... kind of saw
Obviously.
that coming. It was
There's a Fallout show coming as well. They did a trailer of that about a week ago, right?
Yeah, they did. It looked kind of alright, you know.
I wasn't sure what to say, and I think kind of alright is exactly where I would go because the Vault Dwellers, they looked a bit too clean.
A bit too clean.
Some of the world didn't move right. It felt weird.
I didn't get the vibe of like apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I got the vibe of, all right, they came out of a vault, which they were very happy in. There were these mechs walking down, cool power suits. They look great.
Like very early
they don't look very like post-apocalyptic.
There's the scene that they finally come out of the vault, and like in front of them is like the desert and there's skulls and stuff. It just didn't feel very apocalyptic. Again, too clear, but it's like the first trailer. Things can change. We have no idea about it. I'm hopeful for it. I love that aesthetic. As long as they don't charge me another 50 quid to watch the show if I want to eat in my own home or something, like Fallout 76 did. But that could be a good one. So that's also gaming related, so that's why we're talking about it.
That's why we mentioned it, exactly. Okay. That's all the Game Awards stuff done.
Yeah.
Now I think it's time that we talk about the most important thing, the biggest thing that happened since we last spoke.
Yeah.
GTA 6 was actually revealed.
Yes, it was.
GTA 6 came out. The trailer has popped. It is currently at 5 days past, sitting at 136 million views. It broke all of the records for...
Yeah.
Even broke Mr. Beast's record of like a non-music video in the first like 24 hours. It got something like 90 million views.
Yeah.
It was just shy of beating the music record as well, which was like a K-pop band who did like 101 million. So it's like 10 million off there. But it already passed the GTA 5 reveal trailer one. That took like I think that took So 12 years ago, that's sitting at 120 million views. This has already passed it in 5 days, so way more successful. It looks like it looks very cool. I like the trailer. It looked very alive. It shows GTA on what hopefully is going to be next gen only. We don't know yet. They haven't confirmed it per se.
I've seen more comments of people saying like, this had better be coming to the PlayStation. I
want to point that out.
I was in a group chat, totally different group chat. This guy was like, I bet they're going to probably only put it on like next gen, like awful, blah blah. And I'm like, you don't want to play this on the PS4? And he was like, yes, I do. I'm like, what are the load times on GTA 5 right now? And he was like, yeah, that's like a minute. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be 10 minutes for like you don't want to you want to play the game. You don't want to play it on a PS4.
There was, so in our last video where we took a snippet of the podcast and we talked about it coming to PS4.
Yeah.
I made a couple of financial very good reasons why it would come to PlayStation 4. Not good reasons why it should come to PS4, but why Rockstar would take the financial business route to go, we want to maximize money. We don't care about it.
Deeply concerning. They were very good points.
Exactly. That's what it was, right? Yeah. Put that video out there. And unfortunately, there was two groups of people when that video came out. People trying to clown on me for some reason, clown on us for saying it will come to PS4. We're not saying we want it to. We're not saying that it should. We're not saying that this is definitely going to happen. We're saying that there are these very strong...
it will.
Exactly. Yeah. Very strong financial reasons that it could come to PS4.
Yeah.
It's not my personal opinion here. I'm just laying out some facts for you.
Right.
And then there was another group of people who desperately want it to come to PlayStation 4, and there was an alarming amount of people as well who are completely ignoring all of the negatives that come with it just for their own selfish gain, because they have a PS4 and they don't have a PS5. And I understand you want to play the game, but you don't want to play this game, like you're saying, you don't want to play this game on PS4.
You want the game to be good.
Yeah.
You want to play a good game. What will happen if they get their way is the game will come out, they'll complain that it's shit, or that, it will be crap on the PS4, Xbox One, whatever, and they'll be like, it's not good, but actually the answer is it's not good on that console, and then, or they'll say they were conned or whatever, or they'll stop playing it, which will be bad for, let's presume it's what it should be, right? Like it's a proper successor to GTA 5. Then it won't do as good as it should because you cried.
Yeah.
And you thought, you threw your toys out the pram, you made it come to the old consoles, or for whatever reason they decided to do that. And of course, it wasn't any good. Or it wasn't a big enough departure from GTA 5.
This is the exact horseshoe opposite of what happened with Cyberpunk 2077. We said we don't want it on previous gen consoles. This should be a current gen console game only, because the last gen is just not going to be able to hack it. They brought it out for last gen and it was awful. If we had been crying and asking for a PS4 version of GTA of Cyberpunk 2077 and it came out as awful, we'd have no leg to stand on that it was crap. But because we didn't ask for it, that was what legitimized our argument. In this situation, if you cry about it and it comes out and it's shit, you're the only person to blame.
Yeah.
But those people aren't going to take accountability. They're just going to be like, oh, I can't believe they made a shit game. They made this game that doesn't run, that take loading times of forever.
I'm looking at the comments on this video. One of them's like, this aged poorly. Like,
it hasn't been confirmed.
Nothing's been confirmed. And we're just voicing some concerns.
Exactly.
This wasn't a prediction.
This wasn't like, I'm telling you it is because I want it to be.
I want it
to be. This is what I'm saying. People... Anyway, same thing happened with my Ragnarok DLC video.
Oh, no. You actually have really good points of it coming on PS4. You weren't paying it. You didn't watch the video.
I'm not trying to... Someone said the same thing when it comes to the DLC for the Ragnarok thing. I said in that video, I was like, this looks amazing. It's great. I'm really excited. However, I really was looking forward to a story thing. Don't take this as me being ungrateful. I'm going to enjoy this and it's great and I'm very thankful. It's free. Can't complain. Blah, blah, blah. And then someone immediately goes to the comments. How are you complaining about a free DLC? How about you be thankful for something? Oh my God, this was good as well, I'm like, that's literally what I said.
Literally started with.
Literally what I said.
Literally started with, I'm thankful we're getting it. I want it to be like this, and I hope it is.
Anyway, GTA 6, it looks like it's going to be some sort of maybe Bonnie and Clyde sort of story. There's this these two protagonists that look very cool. I'm loving it. It's very alive.
It looks really weird.
The world looks very cool and lived in. It's very nice.
So I heard a theory.
Go ahead.
And I don't know if these two things are relevant, but it came up in the theory. So apparently the girl, or there's controversy that the girl is trans.
I think someone pulled that out of their ass. I don't know where that came from.
I also went and tried to do a bit of digging, because weirdly I did some GTA digging back in the past. Now I feel like obligated
You're the GTA guy now.
The only place anyone can reference that is from an obscure Reddit post where the person claimed that it's been claimed.
So it's just
that. Right. So that is a very important preface.
Someone just started saying, I heard, you know.
The source is trust me, bro.
That's what it is.
The source is trust me, bro.
And the amount of people that ran with it as well.
But then, exactly, people just went off the deep end, right? Or like, there was that other trans thing in The Last of Us 2, and they're like, Abby's trans. Like,
same thing there, exactly.
First of all, you missed it. I missed it, by the way. I was like, where's this trans character? Totally missed Lev the entire way through. I'm like, oh,
I see.
Oh, cool. I didn't get that. But based on that, they said, the way they said it was, if that's the case,
right,
one of these two characters dies and you pick which one it is, and that's the other one is the character you play as.
Okay.
So that there won't be a dual thing like GTA was GTA 5 had 3 protagonists, playable characters.
Yeah.
This was the guess, one of them, but there are two. You pick which one, and that affects like the game and some of the stuff. Interesting. Which is an interesting way to do things. Also, I will note, one of the locations Miami, one of the locations I suggested Miami. Let's see if we go to New York as well. And if we do, I will pat myself on the back.
I will pat you on the...
That's right. Yeah, you will.
On the back, sorry.
That's right.
That's where I'm going to pat you.
That's right.
Only, obviously. Anyway, GTA 6 looks fantastic. Breaking records. Everyone's talking about it. It's quite fantastic. I'll looking forward to some of that.
Still reading these comments. People missed the entire point of this. One comment. I'm sorry, boys. I got to. Can't wait to come back to this video to see you and some of the other commenters wrong in a few weeks. I'd also bet more money than to prove you wrong than you offered as well. Like, bruv. We said we're concerned about this thing happening. And then you gave some really worryingly good reasons why it might. We didn't say it's gonna. I love and hate the internet.
Yes.
In equal measures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our next topic is Xbox going third party. This has been a long time conversation that we've had on this podcast where like Xbox can't seem to get the ball rolling. They're not selling consoles at any measurable rate that is good for any business. Any business would look at it and go, this is awful. We need something else. We need to do something else. And they've purchased a bunch of publishers, a bunch of developers, a bunch of things. We had the idea, well, like maybe they should just go third party and they should just sell their games to everyone. They clearly don't have the brand appeal to draw in people to buy their consoles. So maybe they just spread the net as wide as they can, sell on every console, every platform, and just forget about this whole Xbox nonsense on the side.
Yeah.
Just Xbox Game Studios is the only thing you do.
That's also the only way that I can see them having the ability to navigate out of the Game Pass thing.
Exactly. They just go, all right, look, you don't have to buy a console anymore and you don't get Game Pass anymore. It's just, or maybe they continue the Game Pass for as long as they want, but that's to their own detriment. It's to no one else. But then that we only their own games, and at least that's something. So in a recent conversation with an Xbox chief financial officer in a recent interview talking about subscriptions, first party games and third party games, etc., the chief financial officer said this: not announcing anything broadly, Stuart explains his mission. He says that means, so he's talking about where games might appear. That means on TVs. That means mobile devices. That means that we would also have thought people we would also have thought as competitors in the past, like PlayStation, Nintendo, we could also appear there. We're going to Nvidia's GeForce Now, their gaming service subscription, where we previously wasn't. if you hear it in the way that he says it as well, the way that he speaks about it very much indicates that their long-term goal is to get out of the console business, to become a third-party publisher. And honestly, I think that's the best move for them.
Yeah, but then they have to compete against people that make games.
It is true, but there is a lot less pressure. Like, you don't talk, like, for example, how do I put this? Baldur's Gate, when that came out, there wasn't pressure on it to be better than PlayStation's games. It wasn't pressure on it to be better than EA's games. It just needed to be a good game.
Yeah, people are going to forget about the Xbox as soon as Microsoft go to making video games. People are going to forget that they went head to head and they used to be a competitor.
I think that's what's going to happen. And I think they're just going to be judged on their own thing. Now, still, that doesn't solve the problem of them still making bad games. Yeah. But it takes all of the pressure off like, man, Xbox really need to show up this year, because we don't say that about EA. We don't say that about Capcom. We don't say that about Sega. Yeah. We don't say that about all these other third-party publishers.
Again, counterpoint, and not to be Mr. like Xbox basher here, but every single person or company you just named is showing up.
Yes.
And that's why we don't say, man, EA really needs to show up this year, because they have multiple war zones going, new CODs every year that still break number.
You're talking about Activision.
You know what I'm saying, bro.
You know,
yeah. Shut
they
up.
have Apex Legends. They have
same. Like Respawn made Survivor. Like, they are everybody you named is showing up. Yeah. And worse, relatively like, I didn't know Larian's name until this year. So it's effectively unknown games company. And when I say unknown, I mean to like me, the general casual idiot that didn't know about niche companies, come out with the best game ever made, arguably, for a lot of people. And then what just this year, which is the same as saying in the last 10 years, what has Xbox come out with? They came out with Midfield. They came out with, like Redfall. Again, it makes me sad to say it, but I think Redfall's a better game than Starfield because we're still talking about it. Even just to say how bad it is, you know? In a similar way, so is Fallout 76 better than Fallout 4, because no one's talking about Fallout 4, but people still talk about 76, you know? Because of how poorly received it was and how divisive it was. Like, Xbox is not delivering at all when it comes to those games. Yeah. They're not competitive right now, and they have the talent, they have the IPs. Although, actually, if their focus is only on making games and not all the other crap that they're trying to do, then maybe someone comes and says, okay, what IPs do we have? Oh, we've got I don't know, man, Banjo-Kazooie. Okay, let's fire that bad boy up. Or they go, hey, you guys that you made Deathloop, we need a roguelike. They're quite hot at the minute. Go and make us two roguelikes. One for something sci-fi, more sci-fi than Deathloop, and one that is quirky. You figure that out. Go and make some mistakes, and we'll see what happens. It's got to be good, but people don't have to like it. You can I want half the people that play it to hate it. But the other one has to be good. Everybody's got to love it. And then, hey, what are some of our old IPs? Oh, Gears of War. Let's fire that back up. Let's remake it. Let's start from the beginning, make it from the ground up.
They need to that pressure off of them so they can do all of this.
Maybe they free up. Yeah. Okay. I can see. I can see that.
I honestly don't. And this isn't as you mentioned, we haven't mentioned anything about like PlayStation versus Xbox here. This isn't I want Xbox dead.
I want good games.
That's the thing. I think this is the only way to do it, because they're not making any moves. They're not doing anything that sells consoles. The Starfield, for example, I'm sure that shifted more units than normal.
Yeah.
But it did not move the needle. And that was this game is by the Bethesda. It's the game of the generation, as the guys were calling it in the Xbox community. This was the game that was gonna sell Xbox. This is a console seller, and it hasn't moved the needle. If that hasn't done it, I'm sure the executives are like, look, clearly this isn't our thing. We need to move to something that is, so we can start making money, because all of these investments that we've given you, these billions and billions and billions of dollars that we've just given you, needs to return at some point. And I think the only way to do that is to go multi-platform, sell to as many people as possible, get off of your narrow group of people that you've got, spread the net as wide as you can, so you can at least make something. And that will take all the pressure off, I think.
There's a lot of good things that would come from that as well. Like if that leads to the death of Game Pass, which I know that Game Pass is convenient and very affordable for a lot of people, but it isn't good for gaming.
Yeah.
Right? Like it is better to only be able to afford 1 or 2 games with a bit of reselling, but have great games that you really enjoy and play, than to have access to 1,500 games that you don't want to play.
Yeah.
But equally, if they're not trying to win gaming and just make good games, then suddenly we don't have to worry about them trying to buy out PlayStation from the market, and it won't make sense for them to keep acquiring dev houses. It will make sense for the dev houses that they own to make games.
Yeah.
And they have some serious talent, and they've got some great IPs like under the umbrella. Like, man, they could dominate if they just focused on making good games.
There's something about it, isn't it? As soon as they get hold of those developers, it just seems to go so terribly.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens, because even I expected Starfield to be better than it was.
We were both pretty hopeful
when the concept was there, and then that first initial showing that we had of it, I was like, oh my god, this looks kind of cool. And then it just turned out that it was just... Lies seems like too hard of a word.
We were missold. We were allowed to overhype things ourselves.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. I think as
there was
well...
no check.
Part of it, I keep coming back to Phil Spencer, but like, there's no world in which people sell their PS4s to buy an Xbox. Okay, you specifically worded it to make a scenario that would never happen, yes, but if you're no longer worried about selling Xboxes, then you can just focus on making games.
Yeah, then go third party and make games. All right.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see it. I don't think it will ever happen, but I could see it. That would be cool.
I am actually more leaning towards it happening.
It would be cool.
I'm over the 50% mark. That's where I am. The next topic. So yeah, Lego and Fortnite have collaborated to make this brand new game.
Yeah.
They call it Lego Fortnite, but I swear to God to you, it is Lego Minecraft. It doesn't look like Fortnite at all. You're not going around building things to try and shoot people. You're not trying to win a victory royale. You're building stuff in the world of Lego, in the world of Fortnite.
I'd actually say it's better than Lego Minecraft, and what I mean is Minecraft has a lot of stuff you can do in it, but it doesn't really explain any of it. It's sort of like a Elden Ring, as my experience of it, which is like, it doesn't tell you about fat rolling. That is just something that people learn and then becomes like collective knowledge.
Yeah.
But unless you sort of seek it, it doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
It feels like, and that's very Minecraft. Like there's an Ender Dragon and a different realm and all sorts of crap, which like, how do you find out about that?
How do you find out about that crap? Yeah.
It seems like this is much more akin to something like World of Warcraft, where like, not that there are tutorials, but it goes, oh, you need one of these. Add this, this, and this, and it makes that, right? It sort of tells you what you need a little bit, and then you go and find it. That's the impression I get from it. I've only seen maybe 30 minutes of footage.
No, I'm with you. It does feel like that.
Yeah, so it seems a bit more casual friendly.
That's the Fortnite part of it, I think. Yeah. It's a bit more casual friendly, like you said, and a bit more. There's a point to it a bit more, because there is some combat still involved in it, which is the Fortnite part of it.
Yeah, there are bosses.
Whereas like in Minecraft, there's nothing like that. It's just building and creating and letting your mind go wild. But I like the look of it, though. I have to say, it looks kind of cute.
It does look cool.
I don't think it's something that I would play. I'm a bit more focused on other types of games. But yeah, that's coming out. It's going to be a huge hit.
It's going to be massive. First of all, it's Lego.
Yeah.
So like end of. And it's Fortnite. Like,
combining the two biggest, like, child-friendly...
And it's similar to Minecraft. Like, it's totally safe for work in that sense. It's safe for your kids. Like, that's going to be huge. I hope, because I want it to be good. And to be honest, I really like I'm going to be very careful about this. I really like what Epic does as a business model, because I'm not going to say anything about the company in case something comes out in 5 years. I hope it doesn't, but people were raving about Ubi for a while. I like the way they do stuff. I like the fact that Unreal Engine 5 is incredible and free.
Yeah.
Right. I love that Minecraft is incredible. Not Minecraft. Fortnite is incredible and free. Like that. And what happens with all this free stuff? They print money because they give you stuff for free.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very cool, and I think that's like the right way to do all of this stuff, and it shows, because when you don't take advantage of people and you keep trying to make things better, but give them the option to give you their money, they give you their money.
Yeah, it turns out, right?
Yeah. So I'm really excited for it's not the right word, because you and me probably not playing it.
But it's a good part of the industry. That's why
I'm
it's
glad
good for
it's
gaming.
there.
Yeah.
And also because they're sort of like, in a lot of ways, they're the high watermark.
Yeah.
Then people go, well, Fortnite's doing it this way.
Yeah.
So hopefully, or Lego's doing this for whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully that drags everything up.
Our next topic, The Witcher 4, the next Witcher game, hopefully it's called 4, won't be launching for a couple of years.
Good.
However, Geralt of Rivia will return in some way. Apparently, the devs are saying it will be an excellent entry point into the story for many, for old and new.
Okay.
Won't forget longtime fans who still want to follow Geralt's adventures. That was what they said.
Okay.
We spoke about this on the last podcast. What would we do? Would we do a Vesemir? Would we follow Ciri? What should we do? Blah, 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 that. How do you feel knowing that Geralt is back in the next Witcher game?
He's not back. That's not what that said. That's not what that said. That's not what that said. And I was about to say, I'm really worried, because they said it very specifically. Like, this could very much be you're like on the trail of a Witcher and you're like learning about what he's doing, because you come to town and it turns out a Witcher was here 2 months ago and he killed this thing. And he met up with a witch and then they went off somewhere. It could be that you're following wanted posters and he's wanted or something like that, like he's in the game in some way. Doesn't mean he's in it, you know what I mean? Or it's like you meet up with a bard here and there who tells you stories of what Geralt did after The Witcher 3, and like you pick up bits of the story and his, what happened, and maybe you can find him at the very end. If you piece all those clues together, you go to a location and him and Yen are there in a hut or something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he's in the game. And not the way you and me want, I'd love it to be, though.
I want it to be the same way that I have the God of War theory, where like it's an Atreus game. There's a bunch of things Atreus needs to do, and Kratos shows up towards the end, and they do things together, and then it like ends that way.
Geralt as a companion sort of thing.
Exactly. I want it to be a Ciri story. I want it to be her
I
doing
dig
her
a Ciri
thing.
story.
Yeah, fucking great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ciri story. She's tackling a lot of monsters herself, being the Witcher that she wanted to be. Some unique stories because she has a lot of uniqueness to her, and Geralt does meet up with her towards the end, and it's that family reunion type thing. We fight together as one, as family. Yen is there, maybe Triss shows up as well.
I would definitely love that vibe of like, and one of the problems with like Aloy is that the world gets the task gets too big and she never seems to pause for it more than a second.
Yeah, it never phases her. Never.
I would love for it to be a case of like Ciri uncovers like, the next thing. Well, I can handle it. Geralt and Yen are living their life. They deserve to retire.
Yeah.
And then it turns out she has bitten off more than she can chew or does need some help. And whether she asks for it or Geralt is keeping tabs, he turns up to be like, you're not doing this on your own.
We haven't had a story like that in anything, have we?
Not really.
Everything is set up for it. Uncharted is set up that way.
Yeah.
So the daughter can go out and then Drake comes back, perhaps. That's what I want to do. Same with God of War. Same with this. I think that's going to be the next step. We've set it up in a lot of scenarios for that to happen. God, I'd love for that to happen here.
Right. I agree. Because, so like, I'll give you an example as God of War, where you say, well, like, Kratos didn't have that, right? those first 3 games are not about personal growth. They're about murder.
Yes.
Right? They're about nothing but violence. And the guy that comes out the other end of those original games is not functional.
Yeah.
That is a deeply, deeply damaged, disturbed person who it takes literally thousands of years and the love of a good woman and like last of her species type thing to form into something that can at best be a dysfunctional dad.
Yep.
You know? So I don't have any problem with the child of that thinking that, well, they did this, I should be able to do this as well, and realizing that like they are the succession of all the good that father figure wanted to be in the next generation, which means that they don't have that bit of like, I'll kill everybody then, right? Because they were raised right. Kratos wasn't raised right.
Nope.
He's born in warfare, raised in warfare, grew up in warfare, became a god in warfare. Kratos isn't covered in blood.
Yeah.
Loki, Atreus, is not. And he wants it that way. Both of them want it that way, right? So I dig the idea that Ciri has the ability to sort of kind of do it herself, but she's too much of a functional person and could use some help. And unlike the others, unlike Geralt and unlike Kratos, there's someone there to help.
Yeah.
Right? I would love that.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty great.
I would love that. And the point of that person coming back, by the way, won't be, you can't do it without me. It will be, I'm still here for you. Just because you flew the coop, just because you out and in there in the big wide world, does not mean I'm not still your dad. Right? I'm still here for you. If you ever need me, the universe is attacking and they're going to destroy the planet with the white frost or whatever the frick it was. Say no more. I'm going to be there. Oh, but you and Yen are returning. Don't you worry. Priorities.
Yeah.
I would vibe with that so hard. And it wouldn't take anything away from Ciri and her. I worry that like the permanently people that always need a reason to complain would say like, oh, it takes away her agency or she's not strong enough. Like, no, that's not the point.
I say they don't notice this when it's a male character. They seem to avoid it when it's a male character. Like, has Geralt never had help from anyone ever before? Does that make
Triss and Yen are like two of the most potent beings?
Does that make him a weak character? No one ever says that. No one even thinks that's possible. When it comes to a female character, though, well, it makes her weak, innit? It's like, for fuck's sake,
ironically,
it makes her human like everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. And ironically, like both Triss and Yen would clap 90% of the stuff that gives Geralt trouble.
Yeah,
they just delete it. You know, like
it's a bit more interesting because he's not
right.
Like that.
Exactly. That's why we do it. Right.
I think that's beautiful. I think that'd be a really good way to do it.
That would be great.
I hope that's what's going on.
We're primed for a couple of really good stories that way.
Yeah. But we won't see it for a while, so everyone get comfortable and enjoy what we have in the meantime. Like, for example,
yes,
the Cyberpunk 2077 2.1 update.
Massive update.
Huge update. They teased it the day before. They were like, we've got a big update that's coming out tomorrow. We're going to do a red stream. And one feature that you guys have been asking for a while. I first thought it would be a third-person mode. I have to say. But that seems to be that's what we all think first when it comes out, but then we need to check ourselves. Anyway, this is what they had to show. The big thing. They've activated the metro system in the game.
Yes.
So now you can actually do what was in that trailer at the very beginning, before the game came out, ride the metro system, and it looks beautiful, go around the city. It's not too functional, to be honest. It can get you from place to place, but it's cool. It's very cyberpunk. It's awesome. I really like that he did that.
Do you know what else isn't cool? Our two gamers. Over on patreon.com,
which I didn't forget.
/conversation. We definitely didn't forget it. I definitely didn't look at that phone and realize it's an hour and a half into the podcast. And we haven't mentioned two gamers. As planned, the natural stopping point.
Yes.
The opinions of our two gamers regarding the massive update of Cyberpunk 2077.
Our true gamers. Those people are fucking scroll. Those people are Gams Master, Sheps is crusty right now, Sab2557, Gerald Tucker, Mikey T, Fishy, Alpha Aquila, Dagenham Dan, Cobra SS, Adam Sunling, Max H, and Super Whale Ben. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on the gaming going here at Conbrosations. Thank you so much.
So, talking of the Metro system.
Yes.
We didn't forget you boys. Don't come at me. Or maybe you can come at me, but that's besides the point.
That's
different podcast. People were saying the modders did that 2 years ago. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But now it's officially in the game.
Yeah. And
it's amazing, by the way.
It's done with some finesse as well. Like, modders are great and fantastic, but they also don't have the might of a studio to make it as great as it is.
Because modders have real lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But I have to work.
They're not really being paid so much to do that, so I guess... Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, and by the way, that is not to say that modders don't come out with some incredibly slick stuff. You've seen the flying car stuff? There's one where, I don't know what the button is, but you click it and whatever vehicle you're in flies.
So DeLorean all of a sudden.
Yeah. So like it will come up and the wheels come under and it will fly around. Same with the motorbikes.
Nice.
They're very slick, very cool. But yeah, like landing was an issue for a lot of it. And like it's a very complex game. And like we said, these guys have day jobs and they're doing other things. These are passion projects that have to interact with a whole other thing where they can't speak to the QA team, the dev team, the data team. Like they don't know, right? So just because modders made it first, which is massive, that is more of a compliment to the modding community than it is a negative that they've implemented it. It is now properly in the game. Which also means now that modders can mod it to be a bit better.
Yeah. You can build on what is... When you have a stable foundation,
right?
A good foundation, you can build even more, and that's going to help them more.
And again, not taking it away from the modders, but like the game is finally getting to what it was supposed to be.
And this next point points out to something that you've mentioned a lot about, and it was a very good point. After the game was done, or after you've had your romance options and stuff like that, you couldn't talk to anyone. You call up Judy Panam, they're just like, yeah, I'm busy, whatever. They've brought it back there so you can actually hang out with your romances afterwards and continue that relationship just as it normally would. And that's awesome as well. I think it's
major, man.
Amazing. Previously unfinished areas, they apparently had areas of the map that were just unfinished. They just didn't have time to get to because they were working on fixing the game and whatnot after
that makes
launch.
Sense. And also way more priority,
Exactly. They finished those areas and they're now out for everyone to go into. There's new bikes, a new Porsche, new bike combat, lip movement, lips and moves and stuff like that have all been updated and made better. Music now can be played anywhere via
the radio,
over a mobile radio, exactly.
Which that's actually really interesting. So I think it's like a chip, which would make sense. You have a radio in your head,
obviously. Yeah.
But any time where you have to hear the like conversations or whatever, it turns off. So it's not like it's going to be, which seems obvious now that you say it, right? But you think, oh no, I'm playing the radio. Am I going to hear about like some shooting in Watson or whatever while I'm trying to figure out what's going on? No. That it's all made so that turns down whenever you have to hear what's going on.
Very well, isn't it? It's very well. There's replayable car chases, so they were like car gigs that you just couldn't go back to after you'd done them once. So it's cool that you can replay those. Car chases.
Maybe boss fights.
Redoing
the
boss
Adam
fights.
Smasher fight.
Yes, which was a little bit underwhelming in that time, but at least if you go back and you can play it in different play styles, it might add a bit more fun to it.
Yeah.
Here's a cool one. Gangs react to your gig choices. So if you choose more gigs in certain areas and then more like the Valentinos, let's say, or something like that, then other ones, like the Tiger Claws, are going to come at you because you're like fighting in their areas and things like that. That's cool. Gangs can send squads after you. So you might randomly be chilling down the road trying to get to an area, whatever it might be, and you might just get attacked by a certain gang. That's really cool. And a few more features to be announced, they said. And this came out on the 5th of December, so it's already out. You guys can try this all right now. I think it's fantastic what they're doing Cyberpunk over there.
I think they're called Sandavistans. It's one of the mods. Makes you move super quick.
Okay.
It now, for other characters, looks more like it looks in Edge Runners. So Edge Runners.
Nobody watched.
Yeah, the anime. This is trash,
Nobody
as
really
you know.
Nobody cared about it really.
But so in Edgerunners it has a very like iconic look to it. It looked really good. In the game, people they just sort of weirdly teleport. It's very odd.
Yeah.
Now
it's a weird blur.
Yeah. Now there's more sort of like after imaging.
Interesting.
In fact, you can probably see it. They reworked. Adam Smasher obviously has one, so you can see that, and it looks very, very similar to obviously to Edgerunners, but I think it actually looks significantly better because it's just easier for your brain to process that is the person moving away or towards you, as opposed to them like sort of fuzzing.
Blop, 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 blop.
Yeah, they sort of like fuzz here and then fuzz over there. It's much more obvious that they're moving. So visually, I think that's a massive improvement, but also it's cool because it's Edgerunners, and I think, well, we know for a fact because we spoke to some of the CDPR guys. Yeah. They're very, very thankful for what Edgerunners did for them.
They're so
give
cool.
them the second chance that they obviously deserved and needed. I will say, by the way, because we were talking about The Witcher a second ago, I am still a little bit
I've just
nervous.
seen the thing you were talking about with the art. Yeah. And it's like a different color as well, so you can tell they're moving and whatnot.
It's just much more visually. It's much easier to recognize what's happening. It's also very, very similar, almost identical to what happens in the show. So it's like a throwback, it's a nod. It's so that's also very cool. Now, CDPR, massive update, Witcher stuff coming. Are you going to pre-order it? The Witcher game? Because I'm not. I'm not going to pre-order it.
Here's the thing. We're in the fortunate situation where we don't need to like pre-order. We don't need to do anything like that. But your idea is like, do you have the faith
I forgot that we do that, by the way.
The question is, do you have the faith in them that you're like, I'm going to be there day one. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I trust them to do good.
I totally forgot about that, by the way.
I'm feeling better after the Cyberpunk updates. However,
it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there. The scariness of it being The Witcher and that being ruined, that's the issue.
The other thing, though, I'm 100% not listening to anybody's opinions about the game. I'm going to get it myself. The only reason we need
to avoid what happened with Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm replaying it. I'm nearly at the end of Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah. I'll finish it before Christmas. I'm enjoying it way more playing it the second time. Granted, there's a lot of updates to it and stuff like that.
Also, you got the better romance this time around with Batman.
Let's be honest. Shit. But I'm enjoying it way more without all of the hate and the stuff that went around it. Now, it wasn't completely unwarranted.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was like people
also,
were just
the game's more enjoyable to play now, don't forget
Yes, it's true. Yeah. But there is also a lot of like people dogpile a lot when games come out. I mean, even I had a bit of... I saw the negativity mainly from Xbox for Spider-Man, and that was affecting my enjoyment of the game. But that was a fantastic game. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to somehow try to enjoy myself. Maybe if I can somehow get the game early, then I can play it without all of that noise that's going on around it. I'll keep in contact with the guys at CDPR. We'll see. We'll see.
My big thing is I only want to know if the game is utterly busted like it was with Cyberpunk, which, by the way, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it seems unlikely.
Not because they, basically, they almost died. And when you almost die from doing a thing, you tend not to do that thing again anymore. They saw the two things that they really did, or I hope they noticed these two things. One, don't continuously delay the game. I expect we won't even get real updates about the game until it's playable. Right? I think any updates that come, you can expect that there's a playable version, that's half decent, that's to like Witcher 3 completion sort of thing, right? Like it's ready almost.
And at least if they do the same thing what they did last time, where like the PC version works and at least I get to play that and I get to enjoy that at least.
And I also think that, so they won't keep delaying it for one, and it will be playable. Like the QA team is going to be big, they're going to be playing it hard, and they're going to be a lot of what QA does is they find like niche bugs, right?
Yeah.
So like what happens if you're talking to an NPC and you open your inventory, right? Or select a potion, right? And you do something while you're talking to an NPC, what happens? Oh, it crashes the game, right? most people aren't going to drink a potion while they're talking to an NPC.
Yeah.
So I suspect that this game is going to be, the average experience is going to be pretty much spot on day one and done. And all the bug fixes will be the regular standard stuff of like, if you do things in a certain way, then the door with the enemy behind him is open and you can see him T-posed. That's a weird thing, but it's very specific, weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the general stuff, like, dude, when I was playing Cyberpunk, there was a whole session when I was playing where my shadow was just a T-pose. My arms would be moving, but the shadow in front of me was T-posed. Like, it was really off-putting. It was very strange. Like, stuff like that will be fixed, because everybody's going to have a shadow. That's my guess. So I only care to know if the game's busted, which I don't think it's going to be really.
Yeah, I think I've learned their lesson to bring out our polished product this time. Okay, with that one done, there's only really two things left. I'll mention this one quickly because it's a minor thing. Oh crap! Are you gonna even be able to see this now?
I don't know.
Oh good. Let me see if I can do an airdrop to you. How about that?
I mean, what are you gonna send?
It's a link to a website. Is your Wi-Fi on your laptop?
Yeah, of course it is.
Damn, it's not showing up.
Oh,
okay.
God.
Well, I guess
text it to me again.
I'll do that, yeah. So, Jim Ryan's leaving, as we know. He's being, as the Xbox say they're being fired. Although he's been given a going away party. And
that's not usually
how that goes, right? It's like they made a whole celebration. And they made him a limited edition, one of its kind, PlayStation 1 themed PlayStation 5. They made a box for it as well that's like reminiscent of the PlayStation 1 box. They've themed it all. They've made the controller the PS1 style. Yeah. And it looks gorgeous. The guy who made it posted it on Twitter. And I was like, oh my God, you need to please push for them to make this because they would fly off of the shelves. Everyone would buy
Wasn't
these.
I saying we need a PS1 great? I'm going to come out and say I was not expecting the PS1 controller lead. That's sexy.
That's so sexy, isn't it? With the like connector.
Hopefully we'll remember to put this up on the screen. But where the USB-C or whatever is plugs into the front of PlayStation, it has the OG like connector.
Thing, yeah.
Oh, God, that looks good.
Oh,
I want it. I wouldn't even complain about the light being white. And the coloured buttons as well on the coloured PlayStation thing. Like, I'm sorry, that's just a bad idea to go black and white. God, the colour looks so good. Man, that's got me horny.
Yep.
I'm horny for this PS5 for sure.
God anyway,
damn.
they need to make this thing. Sorry, what the fuck's that? Oh, yeah, that's my...
I want it.
And then the final thing to talk about, Bungie might be taken over by PlayStation.
Okay.
So currently they bought them, right? But they've kept them completely independent.
Yeah.
So it's like, we own you guys, but you're completely independent. You get to do whatever you guys want. Apparently there's been a bunch of like issues in terms of like funding and leadership and stuff like that. And there may be something in the clause that goes like, if you fall below a certain threshold and whatnot, then it means that we can buy you out and then we take care of you. What is it? This is like business stuff, innit? I mean, PlayStation are a reputable publisher. They make great stuff. If they do take them, it might not be the end of the world. Ideally, you want them to stay independent so they can do their own thing. But if it comes to it, it comes to it. What can you do?
Obviously, we don't know the full internals, but I don't know of any company that's ended up under the PlayStation, like fully under the PlayStation umbrella that's suffered. It's not like we go, oh man,
Insomniac, man, fucking hell, they've lost it,
right?
Naughty Dog, they fucking lost it.
They really fell off after Sony bought them, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, exactly.
But what's really funny is that there's one particularly vocal IGN Xbox centric reporter.
Heavy air quotes.
And he posted it's like, man, Bungie being bought out by PlayStation would be the worst. Like, they would just like lose everything. That would be the worst. And he's the kind of guy that was really waving the flag for Xbox to buy all these other companies' studios. And that was totally fine. I was like, oh, this is totally ironic, right? Anyway.
Microsoft tax, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. They're making a bunch of like doing a bunch of cost cutting procedures so they can try and avoid being overtaken.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not it's going to be enough. And as I said, I don't know if it'd be the worst thing in the world if they still exist, but they still exist and Sony own them. Who knows?
It's weird because obviously Destiny 2 is still going, but I don't think of Bungie as being active.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and for the record, I don't think that's a fair statement. Like, obviously, managing one of the most successful ongoing games of all time is a fairly big deal.
A bit
but
big
I
deal.
don't think of them as having a lot going on. So a bit of me sort of like, yeah, well, maybe they're not doing enough to pull their weight and make money. Maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting one. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right, that's all of the topics there. I did want to read out a few thoughts from our boy Alpha regarding the Game Awards.
Yeah, okay.
Because he wrote him. And he says, I couldn't sleep after seeing Remedy team so happy after winning after what amounts to a decade of making and of bringing games to reality, with a version that's so close to the initial vision. Herald of Darkness has now been spoiled for non-gamers, but was so worth it. There was a song that was played live on stage called Herald of Gamers.
Right.
There's a couple of people that you would know from the game.
Okay.
I don't know how it's done in the game because it seems like a very like jokey, light-hearted song.
Okay.
But so everyone in the chat was like, no, it's done so well, and in the game it works out so well, and it doesn't seem like it fits the theme of Alan Wake at all. But when it comes to it, I'm sure I'll understand.
Yeah, cool.
It'd be great there. He goes, I'm so happy that team wins best narrative, best art direction, best game direction. They've done so well, and it's a beautiful thing to see Remedy in the spotlight, especially now as a fan for many years. These don't come as a surprise to a player of the game that I love. I don't know why Alan Wake was nominated for Action Adventure. You see, even he gets it. Baldur's Gate 3 was an expected GOTY winner, which is a good sign as it was a deserved win. The winners were rushed off stage as soon as they stopped talking in some cases. It was funny for Christopher Judge, but shouldn't have happened for the award winners at an awards show.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, they've really overcorrected in this situation, and that's it was really bad. Some award winners didn't even get a chance to make acceptance speeches. Yeah, that's at one point, I think he mentioned,
you should be able to say thank you so much. Like, the team, these really important people, these guys that innovated this thing,
right?
Like, we couldn't have done it without you.
And it's especially worse when there were people who are like Japanese companies, and their creator is Japanese, he only speaks Japanese, and then you need time for also the translator as well. How do you cram that all into 30 seconds? It was really quite
maybe
bad.
You don't waste an hour and 15 minutes of preamble bullshit.
Maybe, right? Maybe.
Crazy.
Some awards didn't even get to make speeches. Gives each awards its own time and space. Don't bunch them together with timing and pace them out to allow each a spotlight. I did note that a few games I did look out for, but I need some more time for all of them except for Hellblade, which I'll be playing. Another one, Octarius, a YouTuber that we all were hanging out with, questioned whether Blade would be set in Insomniac's Marvel Universe. If Blade turns out to be an Xbox exclusive, people appear to be talking about this, but I don't know if it holds any weight. This could be an interesting setup. There's a universe where a universe is connected across PlayStation exclusives and Xbox exclusives. Of course, it could be kept entirely separate or have Easter eggs hinting at connections. Of course, they would require a lot of collaboration. I don't know; it's kind of unheard of in the games community, but there we go. Also, wasn't a fan of how Hollywood celebrities were brought out once again to legitimize gaming, which is financially more successful, and had them talk nonsense. It is quite funny, isn't it? How games are far more successful in terms of like bringing in money, but then Hollywood is seen as the more legitimate thing.
It's weird. It's so strange, and I also think, and so does Rob, friend of the show, we both think that Keanu was one of the reasons Cyberpunk didn't do as well as it did, because they had spent so much money on him. Which is obviously not an attack on Keanu, because
he's fantastic.
The man can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned, at least right now.
Did you hear someone broke into his house?
I did.
And I was like, I feel like he made 4 very good reasons. Very clear reasons.
There are some very well-made documentaries about why this might be a bad idea.
And I was like, yeah, it's Hollywood.
How's his dog?
But then have you seen the behind the scenes of how he trained to get to those positions? I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. It's a very, very bad idea. Because also, like, there could be actual footage of him, like, tearing somebody's head off in his home, and the jury's going to acquit.
Oh,
he could O.J. Simpson a motherfucker, and, like... Yeah, but it's Keanu, you know? Yeah. So this is a bad idea. What were we talking about?
How Hollywood is like trying to legitimize
games. Like, I think one of the problems that Cyberpunk faced as a game was that Keanu, 1, stole the limelight, because why wouldn't he? Yeah. Right? But 2, that so much of the budget went to him because, you know, he's rightly deserving of a large paycheck to do things. And it got a lot of attention that it otherwise might not have. Part of which is not to say that it didn't deserve all the scrutiny that it got, but it may have had a larger level of scrutiny because people that are Keanu fans but not interested in gaming are looking this way. And
I wanted to bring up the counterpoint to say, well, Idris Elba was in the Phantom Liberty one, and look how great that turned out. But it is a DLC, and DLCs by nature don't get as much attention as the main game.
And it's now, after 2.5 years after release.
Yeah.
And this isn't fair. In fact, now as I say it, think about it, I think I'm wrong, but I was going to say Idris isn't a star like Keanu is a star.
It's a bit different.
Which actually isn't true, because I think Idris is bigger. Way bigger. But Keanu's Keanu.
Yeah.
Which is different. I don't know why it's different, but I feel like it is.
Weirdly, Keanu seems like he's got this air of self-made celebrity to him, because he's like the star of all of his own movies. He does he puts a lot of effort into them, which a lot of actors do. Yeah. Whereas Idris Elba, I think he's hired for a lot of great roles, and he plays.
I feel what you're saying. I feel what you're saying with that.
If that's what it is.
Yeah. I feel what you're saying.
Alpha also linked to a person on Twitter who meticulously went through the entire Game Award show and took about jotted down how much time there was for each one of the categories and whatnot. Winner speeches in total of the entire 3-hour plus show, 10 minutes.
How many awards were there?
Oh, mate, there's a fucking load of them. There's a ton of them. The Game Awards.
I mean, just the ones I can think of off the top of my head, that means it's 1 minute for the big top 10.
I can tell you for sure if you want to know.
I do.
Right here. Winners. And then view all categories. Here we go. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. There are 31 awards, but not all of them got speeches from people.
That's an average of like 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it is. You need to go, let's do half of that, because not all of them got things. Cool. 30 seconds barely for each one.
That's insane.
Terrible. There was 13.5 minutes for musical numbers that just went on through the thing. Award presenters.
Yeah.
26 minutes. How do you get more time for award presenters than the actual award?
That's messed up, man. That is messed up.
Properly fucked up. And then trailers and ads and stuff like that, an hour and 28 minutes. And it seems it's very disproportionate.
That's messed up, yeah.
Very we're here to celebrate the people that make the games and make this hobby so great.
That's messed up. Yeah.
Anyway, that is all of the games and then all the news that's happened over the past couple of weeks.
Gaming.
I think this year has been fantastic for video games.
It's been a good one,
and I can't wait to see what happens next. We scarily don't know a lot about what's happening in 2024. Hopefully, we get something soon that will tell us all about it. But yeah, I'll be here to talk to you all about it.
It can't keep going. We can't have a year like this next year again.
This is unsustainable, surely. Surely. Anyway, guys, that is all from us from the True Gamer Podcast. Thank you all for joining us. This is actually the last one of the year. So we'll see you guys in the new year. Not 100% sure on what day it will be. Conversations Day probably, yeah. Where we'll hang out with you guys for a bunch of time and have some fun together. I hope you guys all enjoyed the episode, and I hope you guys enjoy your Christmas. Have a good Christmas break.
Yes. Take time off. Eat too much food.
Oh yeah.
If you're of age, drink responsibly, but too much.
And sleep, not like Sheps. Okay.
So you're gonna have to sleep for me, and we have a backlog, so get a lot of it.
So get in there. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys all in the next one. Thank you all for being here. Boy, thank you for being here.